but is the governor of the great state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott. Governor, welcome to the program, sir. First time on the program. Honored to have you. What is the latest on the Democrats fleeing the state of Texas, your strategy, your plan to hold them accountable, and give us the latest update, sir?
So we are working on quorum today, and to do that, everyone can understand in your audience, and this is a problem in the Texas House. The Texas House has 150 members. It requires 2/3 of them or 100 of them to show up. There are 88 Republicans in the Texas House, which means we need 12 Democrats to be able to have a quorum. And what the Texas Department of Public Safety is doing as we speak right now, they have stakeouts at dozens of locations across the state of Texas where there's the possibility that there could be a Texas House member there. We have no confirmed information that we have at least 12 Democrats in the state to be able to arrest them and bring them to the Capitol. The way this works is when the Speaker put a House on the call and issued arrest warrants, these are civil, not criminal arrest warrants. So it nevertheless authorizes the Texas Department of Public Safety to search, find, and to arrest and bring to the Capitol any Democrat who's in the state of Texas. So for one, they are searching for those people. For another, we're doing the math with regard to who may be out of state. You may have seen the news over the past couple of days that the Texas Attorney General filed claims in courts in these other states seeking the apprehension of them in California, in Illinois, and other states to try to bring them home from there. That said, let's go back to square one here, Charlie, because this is an issue that we've been through before. We had a quorum break by these leftist Democrats 4 years ago. We had another quorum break back in 2003 when we tried to pass mid-decade redistricting at that time. And the same thing happens every time. They're gone for one special session, and then they come back for the next one. And so let me provide that setting real quick. So in Texas, we have a regular legislative session only every other year that ends at the end of May. And then as governor, I can call a 30-day special session. That 30-day special session is about to end here in about a week. And so we will continue to search and find every Democrat that we can. If we do not get a quorum, the nanosecond after the current special session gavels out, I will be calling another special session. And then I will continue calling special sessions until they do come back. We know this. They are going to come back. That's happened every single time. And when they come back, we're going to pass these maps as well as address the other pressing needs and demands of the people of Texas.
So, Governor, when does this become criminal? And I know that you're mentioning this. I mean, aren't they, what's the phrase, subverting our democracy? When do we start to ratchet this up? Because they are fleeing the state, not representing the voters that elected them. Governor Greg Abbott.
So under Texas law, this does not become criminal because that's not authorized as an action that can be taken by the House. However, what we've done this time that we've never done before, we're seeking another pathway that I believe is valid. I filed a lawsuit about this time last week in the Texas Supreme Court, bypassing the trial courts, saying that we can get a writ of what's called quo warranto from the Texas Supreme Court, saying that these offices have been vacated because they have been abandoned because we have Texas House members who are not following the Constitution. The Texas Constitution specifically requires Texas House members to, quote, act on bills before them. And when you're abandoning your responsibility, when you have abandoned the state, you're not there to act on those bills. And so I think I filed this lawsuit in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court demanded a response last Friday. They're considering it as we speak right now. But, Charlie, the pathway that I'm seeking to go down is one that would allow the removal of these Texas legislators who have abandoned the state.
How is this playing out politically, domestically? If you were to listen to the national media, they call this gerrymandering, terrible, cowing to President Trump. What are you hearing from Texas voters, and what is the latest on the will and the fortitude of the Texas legislature on the Republican side to get this done?
So, first of all, what we're hearing on the ground is what we hear on the ground every single time this happens, and that is Texans do not like people who don't show up for work. And Texans have to show up for work. If they didn't show up for work, they would get fired. And so they get angry when they see Democrats flee the state, not show up to the job they were elected to do, and not get the job done. And so this always works to the detriment of the Democrat House members who flee the state. Second, this is a character flaw by these Democrats, because one thing that is anti-Texan is running from a fight. You know, Texas kind of got its beginnings with the Battle of the Alamo, and that was a place where people chose not to run from a fight, but to stay and fight. And, you know, the come and take it slogan, that was when Texans were willing to say to Mexico, if you want to take your cannon back, you got to come and take it from us. And they were willing to stand and fight. To the contrary of that, we have these Democrats who are running like scaredy cats off to some other state, and they have refused to stand and fight. So this is going to be very harmful to them back home. And at the same time, I'm running TV advertisements and digital advertisements in districts of the missing Democrats, pointing out how they're not showing up, not doing their job, not dealing with the flooding problems that we have in Central Texas because of the horrific, deadly floods. And so this is going to hurt them a lot. Your other question. Listen, the legislature is fully committed to using every tool, and I can explain it in this context. The tools already used by the legislature to try to bring these Democrats back are far stronger, far better than any House member that I've been involved with to try to bring runaway quorum-breaking Democrats back to the state of Texas.
So if the seats are declared vacant, just make sure I understand, does that lower the quorum threshold, or would we have to wait until another election?
Two things. One is is my understanding that it does lower the quorum threshold. However, it also does something else. It triggers Article 3, Section 13 of the Texas Constitution that is as soon as we get a decision that they have abandoned their seat, a ruling in our favor in that lawsuit that I filed, I, as governor, am authorized to fill those vacancies, and I do so by calling for an election that must take place within 20 days.
Got it. So that's very interesting for our audience here, because this can move quite quick. What is your response then, Governor? We only have a minute and a half remaining. Governor Newsom is declaring war. J.B. Pritzker is declaring war. Jasmine Crockett calls all of these maps racist. Can you defend this move? And of course, I'm with you 100%. But talk about why you are doing this and the intent as we conclude this segment. Governor Greg Abbott, why are you doing this, and why does it matter?
It's what Texas is doing is 100% perfectly legal, and this is not the first time that Texas has done mid-decade redistricting. This time, we had the law and the facts change since we last did redistricting in 2021. The law that changed is last year, pursuant to a lawsuit filed by Democrats. Last year, the Federal Court of Appeals came out and said that Texas is not required to maintain what are called coalition districts that were helping out Democrats. And freed from that limitation, that opened up the possibility of creating all these new districts. And then couple that with the facts, and the facts are that the racial minorities in the state of Texas are voting Republican now as opposed to Democrat. You saw that with Trump's big win in the state of Texas. The Hispanics in Texas, they don't want open border policies. They don't want boys and girls sports. They support law enforcement as opposed to curtailing law enforcement. And so what we are authorized legally to do, and that is to draw districts for political purposes so that the people of these congressional districts are going to be able to vote for the candidate of their choice, which they showed is Republican, because every seat that we are drawing is a seat that Donald Trump won, and those candidates are trapped in a Democrat congressional seat who is a member of Congress hostile to the values of the people in that district. So we are just trying to fulfill the will and the demand of the people of the state of Texas.
Governor Abbott, we have your back.